How's it going? Today we have sales data for a company across 2023 and 2024, and we are going to be walking through how to break this data down using pivot tables. In this example, we have several variables, including date, location, and sales reps. We have 5 sample tasks that you might be given from your manager or professor, and I will take you through step by step exactly how to solve these problems. If you would like this spreadsheet so you can practice on your own, you can fill out the form links below to receive the spreadsheet in your email. Now without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, starting off with task number 1, we want to show our sales by location with a filter for years. Now first things first, let's go back to our sales data. We see all this data here, and if we just select Control A and then go to Insert Pivot Table from Data/Range, and let's put it in a new worksheet, select OK. All right. Now, what we're going to want to do in order to show sales by location with the filter for years, we're going to first put the date in the rows column. We're going to get rid of quarters and get rid of the date. Get rid of month as well and put years in the filters. Okay, next what we're going to want to do is put sales price in the values. And then for the rows, we have sales location. This is exactly what you want to be seeing. You can see we can adjust for years. Let's go ahead and just take this and put it in the task 1 window. Okay, resize it. And the way we're able to filter this by year is if we go to Pivot Table, Analyze, Insert Slicer, and let's do it based on year. Select OK. And there we have a slicer. This slicer essentially acts as a filter both for the pivot table and the graph we're about to have. So if we select 2024, 2023, and then we clear the filters, the data changes. Next, what we're going to want to do is go to Pivot Table Analyze and select Pivot Chart. Let's say this is a pretty good measure of how we want to show our data for sales by location over years. If we want to get rid of this, let's go to Pivot Chart Analyze, select Hide All, and we have our table showing location and sales by year. It updates as we change the filter, and you have completed task number 1. Okay, starting now with task number 2, we want to show the total sales in dollars by our sales rep, as well as the total number of sales for each rep. We can just go ahead and copy this pivot table into the task 2 bar. Resize it, and let's get to work. So we still want our sales price to be in the values column. We still want years to be the filter, but let's go ahead and get rid of sales location and replace it with sales rep. We can see who our highest earning sales reps are, and how much they sold throughout the year. If we want to include a slicer, we can do the same thing as last time and go based on year. We can go based on sales rep. But yeah, for the sake of this, let's just go based on year so we can see which sales rep had the most success each year. If we want to see who our top performing sales reps are, we can click this drop down from row labels, click value filters, and click top 10. Top 10 sales reps based on sales price, select OK. And we can see that our top performing salesman for 2024 was Ava Lopez. For 2023, it was Elise Johnson. And over the 2 years, it was Elise Johnson. Let's go ahead, clear this filter, and let's get a chart out of it. This is once again a pretty effective chart. Select OK, drag it down here, remove the field buttons. And if we want to lock it in these corners, it's hard to kind of measure it exactly. So if you just hold down Alt, you can do it perfectly. And that's all there is to it. You've now completed task number 2 and you're ready to move on. All right, now we're ready to move on to task number 3. And for this, we want to show a histogram of sales per month for the 24-month period to see which months we have the most sales in. Let's go ahead and copy this pivot table into task 3 and change some filters real quick. Resize it. Okay, instead of sales rep as our row, we want months. We keep sales price the same, years the same, and there we already have it. Okay, let's go ahead, insert a filter. Let's filter based on year. Select OK, and there we have our slicer to filter our table and graph. Let's go ahead, lock it in this corner. Ooh, lock it in this corner. Okay, let's go get a chart. This histogram, once again, works pretty well for what we want. Let's throw it over here. Okay, remove these field buttons, and we can see which months are most profitable. So over the 2 years, February was definitely the most profitable. 2023, 2024, February is in fact the month with the most sales. You guys completed task 3, now let's move on to task 4. All right, now we're ready for task number 4. We're not ranking sales reps, we're not ranking sales by months, we're ranking the top performing products over the course of the 2 years. We can see in the product column, we have all these different products with different labels, and we have about 50 of them. Let's go ahead, copy this pivot table from chart 3, task 3, paste it here, and let's adjust some values. So we still want the year filter, we still want the sum of sales price, however, we're gonna get rid of that and do product ID for our rows. We see we have all these products. Let's go ahead and make some use out of it. So let's go to Pivot Table Analyze, let's insert a slicer, and filter once again by year. Throw it up at the top. Let's go ahead and add a graph in here, pivot chart. And we can see this is pretty complicated if we want to include this as our chart. What we instead might want to do is filter this by the top 10 products, okay? Based on sales price over the 2 years, okay? Right. There we have that table. Now let's go ahead and try again with the pivot chart. We have our top 10 best-selling products over the course of 2 years. Let's remove the field buttons, and let's see what happens when we adjust by year. We see some products fall, some products rise. The best selling over the 2 years was P1151. Best selling in 2023, P1151. And 2024 was P1656. You guys have completed task 4. Now let's move on to the 5th and final task of the video. All right, now for the 5th and final task, we're going to calculate the average sales price by month. This is going to be a little different from task 3, which we'll see in a little bit. But to get started, let's go ahead and copy the pivot from task 4 and paste it into the task 5 tab. Let's go ahead and change some filters. Product ID, we don't want that. We want months. And instead of sum of sales price, we're going to click here, this little arrow, and click value field settings. Let's go ahead and select average. You can see there's a couple of different things. We can do count of sales, sum of sales, max sales, minimum sales, etc. But for this, we're going to do the average sales by month. Select OK. And here we have all of our data. Each month, the average sale was whatever it says right here. So in October, every sale averaged out to about $210. For September was $319. Let's go ahead and get a slicer in here, filter by year, select OK, and let's drag it to the top. Okay, now let's get a graph in here. Let's go to pivot chart and select this graph here, same histogram. Hold Alt to drag it in the corner. Let's get rid of these field buttons, and we're ready. So let's see. The month with the highest average sales was September over the 2 years, which is different than we had in February before for total sales. This is probably because we made fewer sales in September and more in February, and the ones in September just happen to be worth more money. You can play around with this and filter by year to see which months are your most successful getting you the most out of your data. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and were able to learn something new today. If you guys would like to have a spreadsheet to yourself so you can practice on your own, please fill out the form in the description to get a copy for yourself. If you liked the video, please feel free to like and subscribe, and don't forget to click the link in the description for my Etsy shop where you can check out some of my spreadsheets for a limited time discount of just $1. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time.